What's in the bag?
So I have found a consumable. Hold on, I want you to hear it first. You ready? Can you hear that?
Is it gelatin?
That's what good beans sound like.
No.
Wait, is that a box of beans?
It is a box of Borloti beans. They're organic, low sodium, USDA approved.
Why'd they put beans in a box?
I don't know, but they're ready to eat and they're BPA free.
It looks like a giant high C container.
It's
full of beans.
This is sustainable packaging. So Dane,
Yeah, give me that. Give me that box of beans.
there's
baby.
a box of beans for you and not Marcus because he's not here, and then a box of beans for me and Austin.
Whoa, the color of these beans.
Yeah, they could be magenta or they could be brown.
I'm so nervous.
They're like magenta
Here,
and white
shake
spotted.
it and listen. Shake it and listen.
I'm so nervous just because last time you had me eat something, it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever eaten aside from Brussels sprouts all the time.
Well,
So
I looked up what they're supposed to taste like.
So you're not going in completely
Right.
blind
Well,
on
I'm going to tell y'all. I said they're supposed to be creamy
I don't
and
like
nutty.
Oh my
Creamy,
god! So
nutty
you got us a
beans?
box of creamy nut.
creamy nut beans.
Yeah. The manager of the store that I bought them said I wouldn't eat those. So they've got to be good, right?
Are they? They're not expired, are they?
No, they're not expired. We got
Okay,
a
okay.
month.
I was hoping that since he said that, he's like, I wouldn't eat those.
No, they expire next month.
Are you not eating them?
He's got the box. I got a shovel too. So we're all.
Oh,
gonna do
okay.
it.
Do we want to open 2 boxes, or would you like
Well,
to
I
save
just did
a
that
box?
so we didn't have to pass
Oh,
it back
okay,
and
yeah,
forth.
that
I mean, they
works.
might be so delicious you just want to eat the whole box.
They might be, but I'm wondering, they're warm. Like the box is warm.
It's been sitting in the car since yesterday.
It says store in a cool, dry place, Tiny.
Well, my car is pretty cool. I mean, with all them screaming eagles, it's not going to be a dumb
The
car.
coolest place I could imagine.
yeah.
You're right.
So you lift the tab,
They
you
are-
squeeze the wings upward.
Lift both tabs.
Yeah, lift the top. You squeeze.
You got to squeeze and tear.
Squeeze. Where?
Just
Squeeze.
tear the perforated
Oh, so you
top
gotta
of the bean box.
Squeeze. and then
It's like a high C
Oh,
box,
help
but it's
me.
full of beans, Tiny.
our
I
Father.
don't want to smell them first. I kind of just want to eat.
Yeah, just eat it. We'll
Or
smell
do
them
I need
after.
to? Okay, yeah, you're right. We do need to
We
comment
need
on
to
the
see
smell.
if they are magenta
Ew.
colored.
It's like a slimy. It looked like a type of glue that was holding. Should there be bubbles on the inside?
That's probably where I've been shaking them.
Tiny.
They're carbonated.
Tiny.
Are you gonna smell it first?
No, Tiny.
Oh, no,
I
you
just
won't
want
be
you to
able
look
to
what
do
this
that.
box looks like whenever you open it. Just look at this. Can you see
It's
the box opening?
It's
Hold
where
on,
it's
there's-
connected
this
to
is in the
each
way.
other.
Oh, it's all over now because it was just like as it was slowly opening, this creamy substance was just sticking together on the mouth of the.
So kind of like a grilled cheese pull.
Did you smell it? Why did you smell it? Why? You just ate the beans. Don't smell them.
So they smell good.
I'm not smelling the beans. If you open up any box of beans and give it a sniff
Yeah, it's gonna smell bad.
after it's been in an HHR for how many hours? How many days?
Since yesterday afternoon.
Days. All right.
I'm gonna get mine all.
I spilled some bean juice on my box bean juice on my
Those are
shirt.
cool beans.
Here you go, Tiny.
I mean, they're just beans.
They do taste organic. Like they don't taste like they've had anything to beef up the flavor of the bean.
No, it needs some like hog jaw in there.
Hog jaw and salt.
Yep.
There's no salt.
It's low sodium. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
no wonder.
But I mean,
There's like a.
as far as a bean goes,
I mean, they're fine.
it's
They're
a
just-
pretty good bean.
All right, the smell of the inside of the bean box was much worse than the. Stop eating them.
Yeah, the smell.
Stop
of the box
eating
is
'em.
Gross.
Then you'll taste it.
And they got like a weird mouth goo.
If you keep eating them, you won't taste it. But if you have another bite, oh god,
What are you talking about?
the smell of the fart inside of the box is in your mouth now. Once you stop having beans to eat,
Oh no.
you've continuously ate beans since you had beans.
I'm past the point of no return, I guess then.
Yeah.
My mouth's a fart now.
As far as every bean I've had out of a high C box, they're not that bad.
I know, and they were only $1 a piece.
On 1 to 5, I'd
This is just a bean scale. This isn't like food in general.
no. But as a 1 to 5, just straight out what we did, that would be a 4 for me for being a starter bean.
Starter bean, yeah.
Starter bean.
Like-
it is pre-bean goodness. You put it in there, and then you add your own flavor because
Right.
it does not have that besides that aroma of fart. That
Ooh, look at the milky juice.
That part is the part that got me whenever I started to get in there. I think my nerves plus the juice is what made me almost not have a good time.
I'm going to discontinue eating those.
But, I mean, I've had a good 6 spoonfuls. I mean, I guess I like this bean.
Yeah, they're not abhorrent.
I may go 4.5. Do we give halvesies here on this?
well, sure, it ain't gonna
It's our show.
it ain't gonna upset the beans.
No, you're right.
I get, you
Tony,
know,
thank
yeah,
you for this bean lunch.
Yeah,
Taste it through the grapevine.
yeah.
I bet everybody was expecting a lot different reaction after Austin almost throwing up.
I know I was.
I'm still unsettled by it.
Guess I was right. That is what good beans sound like.
Yeah.
in a box.
It is.
So apparently, what good beans smell like in a box.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dane Holland.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer.
And I'm Austin Tiny Zan.
And we are Nerded Through the Grapevine, the podcast where 4 best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. Just 3 of the grapes today. And Austin, I've got a question. I need you to remind me of something. What do the letters of Shazam stand for again?
Is this a setup?
Surely not. It's the beginning of the podcast.
Is this a setup? Isn't it? Just straight up.
What are they?
S is the wisdom of Solomon. H is the strength.
Go
of Hercules.
touch grass, nerd. Go touch some grass, nerd.
He wants me to go outside.
You freaking nerd. Have you ever heard that saying before?
Yeah.
Touch grass.
Touch
It's
grass.
kind of a thing that's, I guess, cyberbullying, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is that pretty much the new cyberbullying?
I would imagine so, but I mean, I don't think anybody knows who's the bully and who's the victim anymore in the cyber stuff. Just because everybody, like, it's if you post a strong opinion and you're not even trying to be a bully, you're automatically going to be like bullying somebody that has the opposite opinion of you on there, and they might take it as you're like going at them or something.
So just say nothing at all. Just get off the internet and you'll be fine.
We'd be so much safer without social media.
We would. We want to talk a little bit about touching grass, about not being inside your house and being a nerd.
Yeah, not like other types of touching grass. Because
You can be a nerd about that type of touching grass as well.
Yeah.
Some people smoke grass.
Oh,
Tiny.
way to
Just saying.
way to remove the mystery and allure.
Ambiance.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not afraid to be that guy, okay?
Yes, you are.
it's
You
done.
don't ever partake with me. Anyway,
No, I mean that guy that exposes stuff. I'm like an investigative journalist.
I'm this close to calling the police since we're talking about grass so much.
just like Alex Jones,
Just like it.
investigative journalist.
What do you No.
Hey,
No. Stay
Back
with
when
us,
he-
Tiny. Stay with us.
look,
Stay
there
on-
was a time that he was good at it. Then he went cuckoo.
And then it went out the window.
Yes.
It's the weather outside is anything but frightful. It's been so nice. And Austin and I recently have gotten the disc golf bug again, where all we want to do, if the weather's nice, is go play disc golf because it actually gets us out of the house. Because in being a nerd, a lot of times at your house, you got a lot of things that you just love doing that involve your nerd interests. Video games being probably the main one at this point.
And I've got a problem too with the disc golf right now because I can't really get it off my brain because you went and played earlier today and you invited me to go with you, but I don't really get much time off with my wife, so I get 2 days off with her. So I like to spend some time with her. So I decided we've got a new episode of Outlander. New season of Outlander just dropped. Love it, and that's our show. We watch that, and I was like, okay, I want to just hang out here and play some Outlander. I mean, watch some Outlander. Yeah, watch it because I ended up playing a video game on my phone. It was it was disc golf.
Oh, you did play disc golf.
I did.
You just did it on your phone.
Well, I checked up because there was an update on the game called Disc Valley or Disc Golf Valley, and the update was introducing a competitive
competitive online multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yes,
competitive online multiplayer.
Okay,
and it was very surprising because I pulled it up and you can see, because you and me tried to play it on there and you couldn't see what the other person was doing. On this, you literally see when everybody throws what, they have a specific color to their name, and then it shows their flight pattern and everything. It was very cool, but disc golf's blowing up here recently. Have you seen all the reels and all the disc golfing and everything that's happening right now, or is that just in my algorithm?
That's just you, because it's like the things that you start associating with, it starts popping up whether or not you actually spoke the words.
Yeah, you can like one reel of something just random, and all of a sudden, like 30 of the next 40 are something to do with that. They're like, we think you might like this, and only this.
And the fun part about this next project that I've got going on, since, it might just be you and me who see the disc golf stuff all the time just because we're always, looking at the disc golf reels and everything, or we can do something to people's phones right now and them not even know we have the power to do it.
What's that?
When everybody gets through listening to this podcast, they're going to get on their social media and they're going to have disc golf. Somewhere in there.
It's going to be somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, if we say it enough.
Yeah, disc golf, 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 disc golf.
Hold on, I want them to get my hobbies too, so don't say it too many times.
I'm just saying, now that it's been said so many times, you can talk about having to buy cat food too many times and not even own a cat.
Yeah.
And the phone will show you, like, oh, by the way, there's a pet store near you that sells cat food.
Well, I did an experiment one time with a guy at the kitchen that I used to work in. That's not bad. But every single day I would talk to him for 5 to 10 minutes about clowns.
Yes.
And finally on Thursday, 4 days in a row, because I would have just that conversation with him, that would be it. He finally went, dude, he's like, not that I care, because, I've done like clown stuff for haunted houses. He's like, but why? Why every day do you just have like a 10-minute conversation with me about clowns and then you don't speak to me for the rest of the day? I said, I'm trying to see how long it takes for our phones to start showing us clown stuff. It took us about 4 days.
Until it started saying like, hey, this is a real nice wig. You need to replace the one that you've been running around in for the last 20 years.
Of things. It would it'd be that, or like videos of people being clowns.
Yeah. Weird.
It took 4 days.
You mentioned disc golf blowing up. It goes well beyond the real stuff, because over lockdown during the height of COVID, a lot of people were trying to find activities to do outside that weren't around other people. Like, so you can be distanced from other people but still get exercise, because like gyms were closed and everything. So it was trying to find activities to do outside, plus it didn't involve a lot of money.
Yes.
And disc golf grew exponentially, like a large percent growth. I can't remember if it were in the hundreds or the thousands percent. I'm going to go with hundreds percent maybe of growth in the sport, just because so many people found out about it then. We have a park in town that as you're driving by it, you can see these poles with yellow baskets and chains hanging down into them. So a lot of people have seen a disc golf basket, but they've had no idea what it was. I was reading online one time, someone said at their local park, a lot of people have no idea what they are, and someone was using one of them as a grill pit in the past. Imagine trying to throw like hole 7 and somebody is grilling barbecue using the basket to do
They
so.
thought it was like a barbacoa kind of thing because they've got all the stuff hanging
the
up.
Chains hanging down.
So they got their meat on the hook hanging from the chains, fire underneath, smoke cooking everything.
Wild. But
I'd eat it.
It's you'd have to, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to be like, hey, just so you know, this is sporting equipment, and by the way, can I have a sandwich?
Well,
I think that would
grilling
be a good
outdoors
in-between.
at a park, is that not a sport?
If there's competition, right?
Yeah, I mean, there could be like a brisket cooking competition over the hill.
Or it
could just be,
or it could just be a family get together and you're in competition with one of the older relatives over who gets to flip the meat because they like to overhandle it and you like to let it set like you're supposed to.
Yeah, you overhandle and he underhandles.
But that's another thing about disc golf it's always, well, I say always, we'll go 97% of the time at a public park. So that space is shared space. Like the disc golf course itself isn't like, if you're not playing disc golf, it's not like you're not allowed on the course. It's just open field for people to get to go hang out. And disc golf itself, it doesn't bring money into a place that it's at. Like there's no money to be made with a disc golf course. So there's this weird thing to where you can't exactly be making park goers upset by telling them, hey, get off the course. You know, we're throwing frisbees basically here. So there's this thing where you've got to be nice about it, but sometimes you just got to skip the hole because there's a family taking family photos right in the middle of the fairway. And as a disc golfer, it's very, very, very frustrating.
And tempting
to just scream four as loud as you can and throw it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, make a stink about it, hit someone in the head with a frisbee, and then them sue the park, and then the park completely demolish the disc golf course, or just skip the hole and go on to the next one.
Well, I mean, you can always come back to it.
Right, yeah, you can come back to play it, or there's all different kinds of things, but
or you can score how many points you get by hitting whichever family member you aim for.
Right. If you hit the one you called out, then you get you get a birdie.
I just figured out a way that we can monetize disc golf in a fun manner.
Go on.
You've heard of miniature golf.
Correct.
What about miniature disc golf? You put windmills and obstacles and clowns, but it's still disc golf, but smaller.
There's been like kind of attempts at this. So one way I've seen it done is people took these mini disc golf baskets, because you can get some that are micro, that are like sit on this coffee table, like it could sit right there. I've got one. Or they've got some that are mini, that are maybe 2 feet tall, 3 feet tall.
Yeah, about 4 feet actually. Just kind of like micro size.
Yeah, they're little.
Yeah, but enough for your what you call them, placeholders.
Minis.
Yeah,
mini markers. They're just tiny discs that you use to mark the spot where your disc is, so your foot doesn't pass it when you throw. But anyway, so people would take the portable versions of those, which they're all portable, and they went to a mini golf course and they would set it up where the hole is, and so they take their mini disc and start at the beginning of the hole.
We just make a course.
It'd be super fun. Yeah. It looked pretty fun actually. But another way of doing it is someone that does metalwork. They created these disc golf baskets, but they're in the shape of these crazy things. Like there's one that looks like a frog, that the mouth of the frog has where the chains are hanging down. So you have to throw kind of down towards the ground into this metal frog's mouth with the chains hanging down. Another one is a cow that you throw into the side of it, and then there's one that looks like a big spider, to where it's really hard to get it past the metal piping that are the legs coming up, and it looked like what a mini golf course would look like for just the baskets. Yeah. So you find a kind of a wooded area and put these neat baskets in it, and it would just be super cool, like to mix it up a bit. So there's not a lot of people doing that.
And I would venture to say that the variations on the way you can play disc golf are vastly outnumbering the ways that you can actually play normal golf.
Probably, yeah, I would say so.
Because, I mean, given just drivers alone, there are hundreds of drivers.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if we've really talked about disc golf in the past very much.
I don't believe so.
But it just how it works is you score just like you do regular golf. So in ball golf, the person with the least amount of strokes wins the game. Same thing in disc golf. And instead of a tee box, like in golf, where you start off the hole, in disc golf, you have a tee pad, which is normally a concrete pad that you're not allowed to go past on your beginning shot. And whenever you throw your first disc, you go to where it lands, you stand behind it, and you throw your next one. And you continue to do so until you get the disc into the basket. Mm-hmm. Continue on for 9 to 18 holes, and there you go. You've played disc golf. Like if you have any familiarity at all with golf, like you can understand how disc golf is played. And like you said, there are putters and mid-ranges and fairway drivers and distance drivers and multi-purpose and all kinds of different molds and plastics and
They've got grip. They've
everything.
got different moldings for different gripping styles. If you like to throw an overhead shot referred to as a tomahawk, they make a disc specifically shaped for tomahawks. If you like throwing regular size frisbees and you want to get into playing disc golf, they make one called the Condor by Innova that's the size of a normal frisbee, but yet PDGA approved somehow. That's the Professional Disc Golf Association. It's like the PGA, but with a D in it.
Yeah, and anybody can sign up for it and become a member.
Yeah.
But they, like right now, the PDGA, like the Open, the Pro Disc Golf Open is going on. And I was watching yesterday on YouTube, like the first round of that golf tournament, which it's shot like a regular golf tournament. It's commentated on like a regular golf tournament. But of course, with a much lower budget. But still, you can nerd out on this stuff real hard.
Do they get
real hard?
Do they get to wear like the gold blazers when they win, just like the Masters?
No, I don't think I've seen a Blazer one. There's probably a Blazer tournament. I mean, they'd be missing a great chance if they didn't do it.
See,
But they have a lot of custom shaped trophies and things.
A lot of times, too, you'll get like commemorative discs for specific placements or anything else like this. And, you know, people throw those. They're not just decorative. People will throw those discs because they're like, oh, man, I really like this disc. Okay, I'll throw it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change that I won if I destroy this.
Well, you're going to have to take me sometime because I've never played and I've only seen, you know, and now I feel like I'm left out.
It is so fun. And
Anytime.
and you know how Deadpool likes to, you know, maximum effort everything, and yet it's just like not really maximum efforting.
Yeah.
That's disc golf.
I mean, I'm
Like
cool with that.
you're getting out and you're walking, and then you're going to and then you're walking, and then you walk a little more, and then you go and then you get shit. And then you're good, and you walk a little bit more, and you throw it again. You tink, but it doesn't go in the basket. So then you say, and then you throw again, and you've made it, and you've boged, and that's disc golf.
Yeah,
Nice.
if you've ever thought, like, hiking sounds nice, but just walking in the woods isn't enough. Disc golf. It's hiking, but you're throwing frisbees.
I mean, that can be a lot of nerd outdoor touch grass activities.
Yeah. Where it starts off with walking.
Yeah. Like one of mine is RCs.
Oh, yeah.
And I prefer crawling as opposed to bashing, which bashing, it can be fun. The difference between the two, bashing is you got a real fast, tough boy, and you're just zooming it through a field, doing jumps and flips and all kinds of tricks.
Cool.
That's bashing. Now, crawling is kind of what it sounds like. You can do it with your full-size truck. You go out and just drive over obstacles. That's what I prefer. So our local RC park is called Buddha's. So you go there and you got to walk around all these hills and over crap, but you're not really thinking about that because you're like, I'm driving my truck, you know. Look at what my truck can do. Look at the angle that is going up that hill. Isn't that awesome? And you're like, yeah. And then when you're done, you're tired. But it's fun. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's accidental exercise. That's what I've termed it.
That's exactly what disc golf is too. That's a thing that I think that the nerds touching grass is kind of, because we're not just going to be getting outside and excising. That's not, except if you're a fitness nerd, and I know those exist.
Oh,
and
they do.
And
You've
you
been
know,
one.
At one point, to be a fitness nerd and to get outside and go, that's just, you have to though. You know, if you're not doing it right.
Right.
Whereas if you get out and you go RC car, you go do your crawling, you've had your accidental dose of I'm going to walk around because you're having a good time the whole time. I mean,
Exactly.
I would say the same thing for disc golf, but I've been playing for long enough that I'm a little competitive with my brain on how good I need to do, so I always beat myself up over it. And it's still fun because I still throw some really fun shots, and I'm not the worst disc golf player. It's just I'm not competitive about literally anything. Like, I'm the least competitive person. But with disc golf, I'm like, damn it, you've been playing for 20 years, be better.
Well, see, the fun thing about the RC crawling is it's not just I bought this truck and I'm going to drive this truck. There's the whole, you have to drive it out of the box so you know what needs to be changed.
Yeah.
You can change your suspension, your tires, tire sizes. You can re-gear it so you have more torque or more just all different aspects of this truck you can change. You can literally take a base model truck and you can end up replacing all the parts where now you have 2 trucks. I mean, that's how in depth you can get into the customization of these different little vehicles.
That's when the nerding out on it gets real
Yes.
deep, because
Yes.
then you're watching every YouTube video on it you
Oh, yeah.
can. You're through like all these different Reddit threads of like, okay, what's the difference between this brand's same exact piece as this brand? And it just gets, all of a sudden, you know a lot about it when just the other day you just got into it.
Exactly.
Like, I just bought a truck, and then now I already know I could have a conversation with somebody about changing every single piece in it
Yeah, pretty much.
within a short span of time.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of complicated information. The hardest part really is figuring out motor sizes, because some go by kilovolts, some go by turns, and you got to know, the conversion methods, so you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And then gearing, and then once you get that, it's just, okay, I need it to be taller, I need it heavier on the bottom to lower my center of gravity. Just things like that. And some different trucks have different capabilities. Like mine has got overdrive on the front wheels, so that means that the front wheels spin a little faster than the back wheels, and you can adjust that with the gearing. So mine's set at 15%. You can go up to, I think it's 50%. So it just helps pull it along. So you learn by doing what you need to change.
Yeah.
And it can get kind of competitive, because it's like looking. One of the people in my RC crew, his name is blank. He drives the black Brumpo. So you know who you are. I have to outdo him. And the best part is I continually do, and I've spent way less money on my truck than he has.
Doesn't that feel good?
It feels great.
Yes.
And his truck weighs probably like 30 pounds at this point. He's put so many brass components on this thing.
Jeez.
You're like, golly, dude. Because I'm like, if your battery dies and you got to do the walk of shame back, or if your truck breaks and you got to, that's kind of suck for you.
Now, is it? You mentioned the competition there. That's like just a friendly competition of like seeing them do something.
He
and you do the
doesn't
same.
know.
Oh,
I
okay.
know.
It's within. It's
Yeah,
a
it's within.
competition
I'm like, I
within,
have to do better.
Oh,
than him.
you mean like a competition between friends just to prove who's better at the given task?
Pretty much, yeah.
I made mine a blanket statement at the beginning of this disc golf adventure. I'm going to get better than you, Dane. I am sick and tired of always being the underdog.
Well, see, I think he knows, but he just doesn't vocalize that he knows, because he'll go up this hill, be like, I bet you can't get up here, and I just walk up there. Like, he had to do this zigzaggy stuff, and I'm just
Awesome.
Also, it teaches you a little bit about cars, because you think you think about, taking like a really small car and putting a really big engine in it, and how, that car doesn't weigh anything. So that engine's probably going to make it go real fast. But then you don't think, how easy is that going to be to control? You don't think about that because I'm not a car guy. I'm not into the mechanics and stuff like that. But then you get an RC car out here in my driveway that's got such a strong motor in it that
it's such a weak everything else.
Everything on it is made out of like
Paper. mache.
It is made
Paper
out
and
of
spit.
Morphbot mutator grade plastic, and the engine inside of it though could go in a car like 2 or 3 times that size.
Yeah.
And as soon as you would put, like, it wasn't even designed well enough to be able to control how much power it had, because you'd push it just a little bit and it kicked a rock into my shin so hard I bled.
Yeah, that little guy was he was an acquisition at a swap meet. I bought it for the internals, and he's like, I just slapped him in here. I don't know. I thought that'd make somebody buy it.
We got it out on the road in front of my house, just out on flat pavement. It's a full width of a road. And it didn't have enough control inside of the car to go any more than just like 5 or 6 feet straight so fast, and then just yank and yeet itself off into the yard somewhere where it would get all of its internals clogged up with grass.
Oh, that's great.
It did throw some plastic bits here and there around the end, which is why it's now in the quote-unquote garage, which is my closet. Because all the steering linkages are just gone. They are toasted.
Yeah, because we were trying to steer it, and of course it has no steering because it was too strong of a push for that steering to mean anything. And as soon as it hit that last bump, you just saw a piece of plastic on that thing just go pew.
Yeah, and Austin goes, "Oh no!" and then I just giggle.
It doesn't matter, man. It was going to happen one way or another.
Exactly. I bought the car to destroy the car and then put his guts in another car, so I care nothing about it.
Was the RCing kind of like disc golf in the sense that as soon as you do it the first time, like as soon as someone hands you a disc and you go out and you throw it for just a few holes, all of a sudden now this is everything. It's like now I have to become amazing at this thing. I want to get to where I can be better. I want to get more discs. Okay, now I need a backpack to hold the discs, even though at first you're like, look at those idiots with like 20 discs. All you need is one.
Yeah.
How stupid are they? And then 6 months later, you've got every disc you could imagine that you would ever need inside of a backpack and more.
Yes. I'm not as bad as one of my other friends, Jamie. That man, he's got like 20 of the same type. I'm like, bro, why you need so many bashers? And he goes, well, that one's bigger.
Ooh.
You know, and I'm just like, okay. But I do get it in a way because I do have like one of my crawlers is a 16th scale, which means, you know, it's a smaller. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you could set up a little course in the house and run in the house, and it's not going to be super obnoxious. However, my other one is a 10th scale.
Ooh, that's a big boy.
It's way bigger. So it's like 1/10 the size of a normal vehicle. So that one, you don't want to run in the house.
No.
So yes and no. It's like they're kind of purpose built for certain activities in certain places.
Gotcha. What were you in?
Jamie has all these cars that are the exact same, and then you look in Dane's disc golf basket, and it's 3 letters, ROC.
Oh yeah, in my disc golf bag.
Yeah, over the years, how many rocks have you actually had? Because I have 2 of them.
You have 2 of my old ones.
I like
Carly has one of the other ones.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 in the bag, and I've probably at least had 3 others. But close to 10. I probably had close to the 10 of the same disc.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shape, but out of different plastics and different years that they came out, so they wear down differently.
Different moldings,
right?
You know,
so it's like it's just the slight differences of the same thing give you just enough of a different result,
right?
That you're prepared for any situation,
right?
And it's like that's something that when I first started out playing, this is ridiculous. Like why would you have all that? Just have one. That's all you need is one of the same disc. And yet now I don't really like branching out into a lot of other discs. I would rather have 5 discs that I have 3 different copies of, and that be it, like in my bag, because those are the ones I'm most comfortable with. And knowing that they all fly just a little bit differently from one another, that's exciting. And then there's a lot of numbers in disc golf as far as like the way things fly, and that's something else you can get really nerdy about. Is there's speed and glide and fade and turn and fade, like speed, glide, turn, fade. And in these numbers, this is where you can see what a disc is supposed to do before you even have it in your hand. It's a way that they show you, hey, here's what you can expect whenever you get it and you throw it. And it's neat that number system is pretty much universal. Like every company uses that number system. So that way, I say every company, not every company, but most companies use that same number system to where if all you've ever thrown is one company's discs, this other company doesn't want to scare you off by using some weird, like, I don't know, letter grading for their, different speeds and stuff. It's a good way for them to go, hey, if you like throwing this with this company, maybe you want to throw ours. But it gets real nerdy when it comes to all the different types of the plastics and the years they came out and which ones are more overstable, understable.
It's like this one's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
This is a 93.
It is. I've got one that is called, there's a guy named Ken Climo. He's won the most disc golf tournaments of all time. I think it's 12.
Let's enjoy that name for a second. That's a strong name.
Very strong. Very strong.
Sounds like he should be the bodybuilder.
No,
When
but he
he's-
did smoke for, I don't know, it sounds like he smoked for 70 years, but
He's-
the man's only like 50.
He smoked on like 14 of the 18 holes we watched him
We
play
watched
in
him, yeah,
Bowling Green.
that's very true.
And then he missed a putt from 4 feet away, and then he just smiled and laughed, folded his disc in half, and shoved it through the basket.
He sure did. And that's the most like known disc golfer of all time. And I have one of discs of his that's kind of like the signature series of his discs that the company that Innova, they sponsor him.
Yeah.
But he, every time he won a championship after like his maybe 9th time or so, they would have that number on the disc. So 9-time world champion, 10-time world champion, 11-time, 12-time, maybe 13. I don't know how many he actually won, but I've got a 10, 11, and a 12-time of
Nice.
those rocks that he mentioned. And it's like a fine wine because the oldest one in there flies different than any other rock you could ever get your hands on because it's been beat in for so long of hitting so many trees and rocks and dirt and just everything.
And that's the one you got the ace with.
I've got, at least one ace with it. At least one.
I seen it. I was there.
You were there.
I was like,
What's
wouldn't that
an
be?
ace?
That means you got it in one shot.
One
hole
shot.
in one.
From
Hole
the
in
tee
one.
pad
Okay.
into the basket, one throw.
Nice.
Yeah. And it is like when you say fine wine, that's exactly what it is. And it's this beat up piece of plastic. It's a Frisbee, man. Like all it is a Frisbee, but I could put it on eBay and get a lot of money for it because you can't buy them. You just can't find them anywhere. People within that amount of time have either lost them, thrown them in water, they've broken or something.
Yeah, but why would you at that point? You know, it's like memories and stuff. That's
I would
crazy.
never sell it because it's one that's been in my bag for the longest of any other disc that I own. The first one I ever had is in the bottom of a small pond. And when I say pond, it's more of like a big puddle.
Yeah.
But it's just real murky
It's
and
the
thick.
deepest puddle ever.
It's so deep.
It's in Murfreesboro, isn't it?
It is. It's a place called Barfield Park. And there's a hole there that my first ever disc that I ever owned, it was a Champion T-Bird. That means nothing to most people. But it is in the bottom of that murky little water, or someone got it out and has been playing with it ever since, and I hope that's the case.
And something that's big for disc golf, I think, is celebrities are now chiming in on the disc golf game
Yeah.
and talking about their passion for it, especially those that have both podcasts and top box office movies.
Oh, now with Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer.
Kreischer.
Yeah, Bert.
Kreischer.
Kreischer. No N.
Yeah.
Did I get it
Is
right?
it Kreischer or Kreischer?
Kreischer.
Kreischer.
The machine. Okay.
The machine.
yes.
Bert Kreischer.
He loves disc golf. And he acts like us whenever someone talks to us about disc golf. His face lights up.
Yeah.
And when that man's face lights up, his body does stuff.
It really does.
If he gets real excited about something, he can always go, one of these things right here.
Like
He's
a baby
bouncing.
bouncing.
Yeah,
Pretty
and-
much.
ready
He
for a
can
snack.
he cannot contain his joy.
And his
ever.
his favorite disc was also Ken Climo's favorite disc. That was I had a Ken Climo, I think it was a 10-time Wraith, and that was a distance driver, and it's still a great distance driver.
Yeah.
But I don't have it anymore, and I've since moved on to other things because I've always been a speed demon when it comes to discs. Like I always like fast stuff because I don't have a really quick wind up. I don't have a really quick whip to what I'm doing, but I have a really quick snap at the end of when I throw. And if I have something quicker, it's a little bit more reliable to get that distance off of it for me. Whereas somebody that has a slower release than I do will end up just going farther left.
Yeah. What I like about both of our like go touch grass hobbies is they can be in a mix of like open field and wooded
Right.
areas, and that changes the style of
Yeah, it
driving
changes
you're
the
doing.
whole dynamic.
Oh yeah, and it's the same with disc golf too. Like if you're in an open field, it's more power, like, as far as like go like fast and being able to handle turns and things. Would that be
Yeah.
like going over hills and things like that? But then the technical aspect of climbing and things in the woods, like on the rocks, like that's a lot more technical. Would you
Yeah.
say than
Oh, yeah.
than the field stuff?
Yeah, because you got to plot your lines and everything.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
see-
the exact same thing in disc golf.
And you
'Cause-
can tell what kind of course I'm playing just if I had an audio recording of myself. Just because in one course I'll be a happy person and I'll be saying the occasional bad word, but in the other course I will be disrespecting the Lord constantly. And it's not his fault, but I do want him to dam that course.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, and not off. I mean, it's not all the time that I do bad in the woods. That sounded really weird.
Yeah, that's strange. What bad are you doing in the woods?
I don't
Austin?
think I want to know.
Tonight on 60 Minutes.
That gives me a story after this next
Does it
statement
involve
that
a
you
pine
make.
cone?
Oh man, just the idea of me being able to be more accurate with my throws. That's fine. I can be accurate with my throws, but I'm a selfish prick to myself, and I get up to the tee pad and I just want to get it there in one throw, and I can't help it. Yeah. I can't help it. If I could just get it there in two throws, it would be a lot more accurate, and I could just lay up. Laying up is whenever you're just making it easy on yourself and you're just taking the smart route, whereas you're trying to rush it and trying to get the big score, which ends up, if you miss it, you've got a much bigger drama on your hands, like you've gone OB or
out of bounds.
Or you've got yourself down into a culvert to where now, because these are in public parks, okay? So you're going to be walking through the woods, and of course you're going to have your giant, just hills and valleys and all this other stuff. So the basket's up on this hill, and you've thrown it the wrong way, and now it's like 40 foot down this hill, and you're having to throw up the hill and hope that it lands flat enough to where it doesn't roll again on its side like a wheel off the opposite side of where the basket is.
All because you said, I could probably hit this 50-foot putt.
Exactly. You could have just thrown it at the ground.
Throw it at the ground.
Just throw it at the ground, land at the foot of the basket, tap it in for your next putt, but then your brain says,
but what if? It'd be so cool.
Austin.
And it finishes with, you suck!
Now, do you guys have like a goal hobby? I know that sounds weird.
Goal hobby.
By that I mean it's a hobby, but you have to do some work to get there in order to do said hobby.
Dude, we podcast every week. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that is so true.
Aside from this,
It's so true.
it's actually akin to this, really.
Yeah.
It's called radio sport.
Radio sport?
That's what we do every week now.
What is that?
Okay, so it involves ham radio. So you have to get your license. That's where the work comes in.
Yeah.
But what you can do with it after that is it's a big slew. So you have to be tested by a certified ARRL test proctor, and that is Amateur Radio Relay League.
Cool.
So you get your general license. Well, let me explain what ham radio is a little bit.
Sure.
City or country?
It's not food.
Oh,
right. So you have either handheld radio or a base station, kind of like you see in different shows where they contact aliens on this radio. That's ham radio.
or your dad in the past.
Or your dad in the past.
Ghost Dad.
So you do that, and it's shortwave radio, not shortwave radio. You're basically bouncing radio signals off of either repeaters or the atmosphere itself. Like there's a ham radio on the ISS, just throwing that out there.
So it's magic.
So
It
you
uses
could be
magic.
talking to astronauts.
I just had to copy down the dictionary.
Right. And not only could you talk to said astronauts on the International Space Station, you can use it as a repeater to bounce your signal to the other side of the world.
Dude, that's
Cool.
awesome.
Yes. Super dope. So now radio sport is taking ham radio and going out into the field, and either there's different sanctioned competitions. So one is you see how far you can contact other ham stations and how many, and there's points associated with it. So basically you have to get some kind of outdoor rigging like a travel antenna, power station, radio, blah, blah, blah. And then you just sit there for, however long the time period is, and you just basically do radio checks and you document, who you got a hold of by putting down their call sign, and then points are tabulated and awards are given.
Cool.
Or there's also, you go out for field days and you find transmissions. Basically, you triangulate using, the radio where things are being transmitted from. And there's a form of television with it. There's all different kinds of things associated with this. Yeah.
That's
crazy.
cool. Yeah, I had no idea there would be a sport for that. But then again, I guess you could turn anything into sport, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
And I want to challenge somebody to do this with me. I need a battle buddy because this some of the information is difficult.
It's
It's a lot of information, and some of it's very technical. Some of it's just kind of like duh.
Well, we've got a lot of teachers that listen to us, so maybe one of them is smart enough to handle this.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll pick up the call
Join
to
in
arms.
on you, yeah.
And then like
Right.
everything else in this world, it'll become a high school club.
Yeah, I mean, like you can get a handheld ham radio for like $35 on Amazon. They're cheap,
That's not bad.
and then the tests are free. They're done by
Oh,
volunteers.
Cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and the licensure is free, but you have to register with the FCC, which I've done
That's
that.
a process, huh?
Yeah, getting my GMRS license was, dude, it took me like 4 hours, and that's just navigating the FCC website.
Just getting to the test.
Yes. Well, GMRS is you pay $35 and it lasts for 10 years.
Okay.
It's like the little brother to the ham radio.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I had to watch YouTube videos of just getting through the site. So, the good thing about the ham radio community is the instructor does all of that for you. So, you just have to sign up and get an FRN number, and then basically you just check it every now and then, and when your call sign pops up, you know you're legal to transmit. Because you can listen to ham radio all day. You just cannot hit that talk button.
Really?
Yeah, bad things will happen.
Yeah, if you have to do something with the FCC to be able to get the license for it, they can.
Well, because a lot of times, like when we had the big tornado, ham operators help coordinate emergency relief. So because it's not bound to the grid, so they help coordinate volunteers and things like that. Storm tracking. There's a lot of things that can go into this. It's a very powerful medium.
Yeah.
So it's super cool.
Yeah,
it's my new aspiration.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like that, the competition aspect of it.
Yep.
I don't think I think disc golf is probably the only outdoor hobby that I have that deals with competition. But I've always been interested in the idea of birding or bird watching, but I think the new term is birding, because bird watching, I guess, sounds, I don't know, like an insult. I'm not sure, but it's
birding
just,
sounds better.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I think birding sounds like some kind of,
Something with a glass pipe.
something with a, I don't know, in the bedroom.
Man,
yeah.
did you see that dude outside the 7-Eleven the other day? He was birding his head off, man. He wouldn't stop just shaking back and forth, just that head on a swivel.
Just looks like the bird that dips its beak into the water and then comes back up. The balancing bird thing on desktops. Have you ever seen those?
Actually,
Yes.
there was a dentist in our hometown. I'm not going to say his name, but he's no longer a dentist, and he had been arrested one time whenever I worked in the jail, and he was in the jail so high on pills that's exactly what he was doing, was just
know the one.
just standing completely straight up and then touching his nose to his knees, standing straight up, nose to knees. And I said, Dr. Such and Such, what are you doing? And he looks up at me, and he knew me. He said, oh, Austin, hey, yoga. Like, all right,
get back to it.
Did we go to school with
Namaste.
his daughter?
potentially, and that's as far as we go.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I
I
know which
wasn't
one
gonna-
you're talking about.
Yeah,
now,
I
too.
wasn't going to say
Yeah.
names.
It's a very
but I
small
was
town.
Pretty sure that's who it was.
Very small town.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do for a sport. I want to bird to the point where I'm doing yoga in a jail cell. I mean, like,
it's not going to be difficult
It's
to
not
do.
at all.
I'd love to get into astronomy, and I'm not talking astrology because that means that's a whole
different.
different
That's a whole
thing.
other kettle,
Please,
dude.
good Lord, because I'm looking for the Capricorn and Virgos in the sky does not mean that I believe in the Capricorns and Virgos of the sky. Okay, you know what I'm saying, man?
My Capri Sun is in Tartarus. Or whatever.
I can't.
My Capri Sun's retarded in Mars.
It's in TARDIS.
my Capri Sun is shading over the Sailor Moon, and I can't. It's just I don't know what they're saying. And there are people that legitimately believe this stuff and will go by it and live their lives on this creed of it exists and it is real, and I just can't. But looking at the stars.
That's something you could do.
That's something
Yeah.
I can do, and that's something I can take hold of because there it is. It's there. Let me look. I mean, some of these might be dead right now because we wouldn't know for a couple billion more years. But as you're looking at the stars, you can see stuff. You can get you a telescope. I mean, you can spend as much money as you want to on a telescope. We got a telescope at this house somewhere.
We do?
Yeah, Trudy got one for Christmas about 2 or 3 years ago, and we
yeah.
never even got out of the box. But you know how organized we are, so it's all gone somewhere.
Dang.
But just the idea of me getting outside and just looking up at the sky and kind of just getting a good glimpse at stuff. Like not too long ago, I forget what planet it was that was so freaking close to us. It was like one of the brightest stars in the sky, but it was a planet.
Was it Uranus?
No, that's
No.
way
Uranus
too
really close.
Yeah, it's way too far away for us to ever even get a good
I
glimpse.
don't think it was Mars. I think it was Venus.
I think it might have been Venus. That sounds right.
Yeah.
What are the names of the planets again? Anyway,
Earth.
Earth. Yeah, that's like the fourth one.
Yeah.
So you've got Venus right there, and you can see it with your naked eye, just shining the brightest light in the sky besides the moon during the night.
Mm-hmm.
Just get you a good enough telescope to be able to actually get a glimpse up there at it, get a little bit closer. I mean, that just seems fun to me. And it
That's
doesn't
cool.
seem like it would cost you that much money. I mean, and it could be, if you've got money to spend on it, what the hell do nerds do?
They even have some that can take pictures, like astrological pictures.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I want an astrological picture scope.
That would be really neat. That's another cool thing about the getting out and getting into certain hobbies outside of the house. A lot of them can be started off pretty cheap. Like there are cheap ways to at least test and see if you want to do this.
Don't get into RC.
RC is not one of
That
those.
is not one of
because
those.
Going to Walmart and getting an RC car is not the same
It
thing
is not.
as going to a hobby store and going, "Excuse me, how much or what?"
Yeah, you're like, that little guy right there
Yeah.
is $400 American dollars.
Is it the type of community that, let's say you're at one of the, did you say swap meet or swap meet?
Swap
Swap
with a P?
with a P because you swap things.
Yeah.
Like it's like goods instead of money all the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, you can trade,
Both, right?
you can whatever. Yeah.
That's cool. I want
Do
to
I
go to
still
some of
trade?
those. But what
There's
were you
supposed to
saying?
be
I was
one
gonna
next
say-
month.
I thought I think he got an RC boat at one of them too.
I
was
did.
somebody
Given
just-
to you,
Yeah, dude, just
Take
we're-
this away from me is basically
Pretty
what he
much,
said.
we were packing up. He's like, "Hey, can I sit this on the back of your truck?" And I'm like, "Well, that's not my truck, but sure." And he's packing up. I'm like, "Hey, man, you forgot your boat." He's like, "No, that's your boat now." I was
oh,
like,
no,
I said, "Is there something wrong with it?" He's like, "No."
I do not want
Here,
that boat
take
anymore.
it back. He's like, "No, I'm good."
I'm swapping this to you for nothing.
Yeah. Well, he's a YouTuber that
Yeah,
does
yeah.
RC stuff, and so he's probably got a bajillion of them.
Yeah, see, that's where I was kind of getting with my question was within the RC community, is it the kind of thing to where if I didn't really have the means to be able to even get a base model one from a hobby shop, would I be able to go to somewhere with a group of people doing this and someone be willing to like sell for super cheap since they've got like 12 of them?
It does happen.
Okay, because I was thinking that sounds like the kind of community that would be super cool to the point where we want you to get into this,
Yeah.
and we're going to try to help.
I mean, RC's been exploding, and the really cool thing about our local hobby shop, you can put things on layaway, and it's the old school kind of layaway. So you're like, "I want this," and they go, "Cool. You know, just give us a little bit of money. We're going to sell that one, but when you pay it off, we'll make sure that you have one in stock. It'll be the color you want, and they don't even charge interest.
Cool.
And so you just, and no minimum payments, you just bring them money. As long as you keep socking the money away, you're good.
Is that over at Crowbar Shop? That's what I call them.
It's the only hobby shop we have in town, right? The one across from T-Mart?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Crowbar Shop. I love him.
Oh, Crowbar, that's the person, not
That's
the
what.
name of
No,
it.
that's what I call him.
I've never heard him referred to as that, so sure.
I'm the only one.
Okay. Well, there is a guy there that's called Moose.
Crowbar
Does that
and
help?
Moose? That's a pretty good combo of
Yeah,
people.
they sound like buddy cops.
Yeah, you do.
Crowbar and Moose. Also, a weird way to style your hair.
It's like a two-toothed comb. It's
Ooh.
heavy.
But
Very heavy.
I mean, the hobby shop over there, that thing is, you walk into that place unknowledgeable about anything and you are lost automatically.
Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming. You should go one day and just look.
I went because I was going to go apply for a job over there just so I could have a part-time job, but then their part-time was a little bit more part-time than what I was part-timing for. So I just ended up not even filling out the application. But I was just looking through everything. I was like, how the hell? How do you do this? Like, I mean, I can understand having knowledge of product, but this is ridiculous, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got like rotors and damn, just like, oh, I need a rotor for a 2004 Blade Runner. I don't know, whatever kind of freaking RC car it is.
Yeah.
But they got it. just up there, and you got to know what it is. You got to know your part number. You got to know all this other stuff, like you're buying stuff for actual cars.
Pretty much. I mean, some of them are specialists. Like all the guys there are incredibly knowledgeable. Like one, he's more into drifting, so you got a drifting question, they're going to direct you to him.
Cool.
One's more into crawling. One's into bashing. One's just into just taking one thing and just making it totally different.
What's Dad into?
Dad?
Yeah, the guy who actually owns the shop. Have you ever met Pops?
I've not met Pops.
Okay, I didn't know if he would, because he started the shop and it's his shop, but everybody else runs it for him.
His son bought it from him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's Crowbar. Crowbar's his son.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he purchased it from his dad. So I've never met his dad. And yeah, just a bunch of great guys,
Cool. That's really cool. I like that. I like the sense of community in a lot of these kinds of activities where you actually have to go somewhere and physically be within a group of like-minded people.
Oh, yeah.
Because online, like with gaming and stuff, yes, community's huge within gaming, and you can be friends with people you've never met in your entire life. But there's just something different about being there physically with these other people and just nerding out together about like showing them, look at this cool thing that I put together, and them going, that's awesome. Look at my cool thing I put together. And just like in disc golf, like if you go to a course and you're just going to kind of throw by yourself, there might be a group of 2 or 3 people there, and they might be like, hey, do you just want to throw with us? Like I've played with a bunch of random groups before in the past. Now I'm a lot less social. I'm way more antisocial now, so I don't really want to do that. I just want to be like, okay, leave me alone. I'm just going to throw my Frisbees.
But it's cool to know that the communities are accepting like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's been at least 1 or 2 occasions I've gone into the hobby shop, and like my truck is broke. Like I took it out, I drove it for 5 minutes, something broke, and I can't drive it no more. And I go over there and I get my part that I need, and they're like, all right, have a good one. I'm like, hey, you got some tools I can borrow? Because I was in the middle of running, and I'm trying to get back so I can keep running. And then, like, next thing I know, there's 5 dudes working on my car for me.
It's like
and I'm standing there like, I didn't expect that. I, didn't ask for it, but thank you.
Yeah.
And they just go, here's your truck. Go have fun. Break it again and come back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool community like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's similar to disc golf, too, because, I mean, when you're throwing these courses, there's a lot of different spots where you can lose discs. Like, it's not going to be to where it's, like, in the lake all the time, but there are, like, high grass and, like, tree and wooded areas.
What we call shul.
We call it the shul.
That's the deep stuff, the thick, deep stuff.
That's the grass that as soon as your disc goes into it 1 foot, it's lost forever.
We had to name it something.
Yeah, because we needed to stop saying shit in front of all the little kids that are out there all the time. Yeah. I threw it into the shit! Like, shul! Yeah, that's one of our correction words.
Yeah, shooey.
Just like shooey. Don't say shit in front of kids. Say shooey. But if you say we lose a disc or something like that, and there's another group that's playing, they see you frantically searching because, of course, you want this disc. It means something to you because otherwise you just walk away from it because that's how it works. You have your trash discs. You're all right, I lost that one. And you got like, damn it, I just spent money on this, so you're going to go get it. They'll stop and help you. They're like, hey, what color was it? Okay, this kind of, all right.
Yeah, you could have 2 groups of 4 all looking for the same disc, and you've never met these people in your life, but it's like, we all get it. Like, we all have done that. All the guys in the shop, they've all broken down in the middle of having fun and not been able to continue. So they're like, we get to help this person not have to go through that. And there's an excitement within that hobby. And that's something, it's really cool. I'm glad that we ended up pretty much mainly talking about 2 things and how much they overlap, and they're totally different things. I mean, one is involved with mechanical driving of cars, and the other one is throwing basically Frisbees. And they're completely opposite of one another, but there's so many similarities when it comes to this being a bunch of nerds going out and touching grass with each other.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's super cool. I like hearing about the community and that, and me being able to understand what it's like without ever having to go do it. But I kind of see in my head what it would be like going to Buddha's and hanging out with a bunch of people I've never met, driving RC cars, because I've basically done that with disc golf, shown up on a course and thrown Frisbees with strangers that I've never met. But I think all the nerds listening to us now, I would never tell you to touch grass out of an insult, like the way I totally set you up without you knowing it at the beginning of the episode.
I had
Also,
no
remember when I
idea.
caught you off
No
guard,
clue.
and you were
Totally.
like, "Whoa, where did that come from?"
Yeah, I had no
remember
idea.
how I did that?
Yeah, I had no idea it was a
Well, you'll
setup.
remember it forever. It's recorded.
Yeah.
Those of you listening to us now, I would never yell that at you as a bad thing. If you don't want to go outside, you're fine. Just do the things that make you happy. I don't care. But there are a lot of different communities out there of really neat things that you can feel more active doing. It gets you, like Donnie said, even going out into the woods and driving an RC car, it can be exhausting because getting to the place you want to go and also getting to your car whenever it flips over and like all that
worst
stuff, right?
That's the worst, man. Like you're like, oh, like in Buddha's, okay? There's some outside courses with straps and fences and just garbage, really.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, that thing is going to be a challenge. And so there's your car like 10 feet in the air over just death. Like if I walk down there, I'm going to die, you know? And then it falls and you're like, oh God, no, now I gotta
die.
Now I gotta spend the next 4 days journeying down into that gorge to find my truck that's probably broke. And then you get down there and it's perfectly fine. Like it don't give a shit, but it's turtled.
Tiny reaches into his pack of everything that he always carries. He pulls out a wizard hat. He puts a pipe in his mouth.
Yeah, I take the Eagles from the outset.
And he's just off on his little adventure.
Yep. I take the Eagles from the outset, though.
And, you know, there's this thing with technology now. It's an app on your phone called UDisc.
Yeah.
UDisc is probably one of my favorite things for disc golf nowadays, just because, number one, you can get on there and you can locate every course everywhere. And if there's not one and you know about it, you can actually plug it in on the course map.
Somehow, yeah. I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure you can.
But there's so many already plugged. Why need? But what you can do is you can pull them up on there. You can make your scorecards on there, and you can actually do your scorecards and log your scorecards for specific courses, and it'll keep it on your profile, so you can know how well you've done each time you've gone to certain courses. And it's
Super cool.
And it maps it in GPS whenever you're on the specific holes. Like, this is the direction it goes. This is where the hole ends. This is how accurate it is to the foot of the distance. It's really cool. And it's a good way for you to discover new courses that you've never been to before, because I got on there and I was looking at some buttes the other day. There are actually a couple even private courses where you have to call the person that owns the property, because they've decided that they want to make a disc golf course on this beautiful property, but you have to have, phone-in access to it.
Been to one of those where we had to sign a release form, basically like saying like, hey, if I get injured here, it is not the person who owns the property's fault, because the way they've got intentionally some things set up as obstacles, like if you were to injure yourself on that, yeah, they're just like, hey, we need you to read through this and sign it so we are not liable if you hurt yourself. And that was the most beautiful, well-kept course I've ever played, ever. Like every hole had a covered bench area on it, to where if it happens to start raining and it's going to pass, like you've got somewhere to sit there, or like in the shade, and to be able to relax for a moment. Or if a group, is playing quicker behind you, you can sit there and just let them pass, and it's not somewhere where you're trying to look for a non-awkward place to relax. It was nuts. And it was one of those courses. It was a private course that I didn't even know existed. It was super cool.
Here pretty soon, I want us to get to that one that's just 45 minutes away from us here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That one looks beautiful. I would not mind having a phone conversation over that, even though phone conversations give me anxiety.
We just need to not have another Outlander episode come out, and then we can go play there.
Well, it happens every week, but this
Dang
one
it.
this one was the first one that came out this year, and just
You've been jonesing for it.
my veins were throbbing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Maybe I should watch this show.
Sing me a song of a lass that's gone. Hey, yeah. that
I don't even know what that means, but
that was for Jessica specifically. She'll get
Good.
it.
Woo. Yeah, before it gets even weirder, we're going to go away. Thanks for touching grass with us for the last few minutes. Maybe you were listening to this outside. Front porch sitting, I consider to be going out and touching grass, because it's outside.
I'm
breathing
touching it with my eyes.
I'm touching it with my eyes. I'm breathing the air, and I'm watching the people drive by as my dog yells at them. And to me, there's sport in that. But thank you for listening to us. We're everywhere that you want to listen to sounds on the internet. There's probably a rating system. Click the 5 blades of grass, all 5 of them, please, because then that means we've done a good job. And then go buy a t-shirt, because that really means we've done a good job. That means you did so good. Here's some money, and we'll give you an object for that money. And I think that's a pretty fair way to trade things. But if you do want to do that, there's a link in the description, and you can go do it if you want.
Yeah. If you want to, you can get on the Facebook, the Instagram, or the Twitter by looking up at Nerd Grapevine. You can get on there and talk to us a little bit about everything we discussed today. Talk to us like how do you like to touch grass? Do you like to touch grass and go out and do this and that? Do you outside grill? Do you touch grass with fire? Is that what you do? I mean, I don't care. You can tell me. I'm a safe spot. So, talk to us on there. Look up at Nerd Grapevine. If you want to donate a little bit to the cause and try to turn this less into a, less of a hobby and more of a business, just get on that Patreon. Put a little money in our bank accounts. It starts off at $5, and that's a little money. You can do that. It's like tipping your waiter. If you only tip your waiter $5, you probably might not even think that's enough. We've provided you with excellent service, and your appetizers were delicious.
And 7 is one of those that has enjoyed the appetizers for sure, because he's been a Patreon member of ours for a really long time.
He has been.
Huge shout out to 7 as always.
And with those Patreon subscribers, that is, to have a Patreon subscriber that's been around as long as 7 has. I mean, he got to be a grape.
Oh yeah. He's going to be a GG for life.
So that is, it's awesome. So get on Patreon, look up Nerd Grapevine. It's Father's Day, so it's a pretty exciting day. We've all got plans with our fathers later on. Dane's gonna go eat with his. I'm gonna go eat with mine. Tiny's gonna have a seance.
We already did. We had my grandma over here. We already did. Grandma was over, and we had dinner, and it was nice.
Well, you ruined my joke.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. Hey, Ghost Dad could beat Skin Dads
Any
all
day.
Day, every day.
He can punch all the way through you.
I
and
can't
stop your
even.
heart.
I can't.
Well, that caused me to have a little bit of.
I think that was my dad.
I think it was.
So
Raymond Sr.?
Hey, he was Raymond Theodore. So
I thought you were going to say senior.
Raymond Sr.? We're still on the Hoff and Colf?
I was, before my dad showed up, I was going to offer you all my pocket dollars to drink this bean juice.
I don't want to drink. I'll eat the beans.
No, just the juice.
I like
It's not juice. It looks like something else that's not juice.
It looks like that kind of chicken at the Chinese restaurant. The really sweet one.
It looks like beans floating in stress response.
From a horse. But go down in the show notes. It's not an option. Go down in there and find the link to our Discord. Get on there and talk to us. We've just added polls to our Discord, so now we can literally
Strippers
take it to the polls.
Welcome. Oh wait.
I mean, look, we'll welcome those too. I'm a single man, so
I'll strip for you. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh, is it okay?
I dropped my cell phone.
Is it okay?
It caused me to have some Discord.
Yeah. But find us on there, and if you are one that's willing to accept the challenge of getting your amateur license with me, it's technician license. I'm an idiot. That's how bad I am at this.
You're doing
Let
great.
me know. Get on the Discord. We'll encourage each other through the tough times. We'll send like weird esoteric radio memes. There's got to be some. But anyway, we're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
And that's a good point to go ahead and end this episode, boys. I'm real happy that we were here.
And YouTube.
Yeah,
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
We're on YouTube, and Tiny's working on getting us some video up and running so we can have some.
It's proving to be a challenge, but we
It's
will
hard.
get there, dadgummit.
It's hard.
It's hard just to get them from an iPhone to a pooter. That's where I'm struggling.
So, the question that everybody always wonders for the end of the podcast: when life gives you grapes. I'm going to take those grapes. I'm going to squish them until all of the purple runs out, and then I'm going to dye a disc with it. I'm going to dye the disc with it, and I'm going to throw that disc directly into
my ass.
I was going to say a basket, but that's even better. I'm going to put it right in your ass.
Yay!
Just put that
Run your
grape-
ass basket.
Sing me a song of the last that is gone. Froggy.